At the dawn of home computers, smartphones, and tablets, the icons for their apps felt real. Every app icon closely resembled the real-world object it represented. This technique is called skeuomorphism. But what exactly is this concept? Where did it come from, and where did it go? Skeuomorphism is when an object in software mimics its real-world counterpart. This is typically accomplished by giving the logo realistic textures, gradients, shadows, and making sure it looks just like the real deal. Some examples that might look familiar include the old Instagram logo and the old Apple Notes, newsstand, reminders, and passbook icons. Back in the 1980s, tech companies like Apple and Microsoft were faced with a problem. They needed to design logos for their new graphics-based computers. What they ended up deciding on was to make the logos resemble their real-world counterparts as close as possible to make the transition to computers a more frictionless experience. For example, Apple introduced a Contacts app onto Mac OS X that resembled a traditional leather address book, and the icon for the Windows File Explorer resembled a shiny filing cabinet. These designs provided a more of an intuitive feel towards using technology and helped transition the world to computers and office systems. As more and more people became familiar with the ins and outs of using a computer, the need for realistic icons was lost. Users had grown to understand user interfaces to the point where they didn't need to emulate their real-world counterparts anymore. This enabled graphic designers to experiment with phasing out skeuomorphic designs, shadows, and gradients in favor of flat designs and abstraction. Logos and icons became flatter, brighter, simpler, and more interpretive. For Apple, the majority of these changes came with iOS 7 on September 18, 2013, and Mac OS X El Capitan on September 30, 2015. And for Windows, the change came with Windows 8, which was made available on October 26, 2012. As more and more of these big companies began simplifying and smoothing their logos, unrest grew among the general public as many of them preferred the skeuomorphic designs they'd become accustomed to. These changes to simpler and more interpretive designs came around the same time many companies in other fields were flattening their logos. Companies like Google had been moving away from 3D logos for a while other companies like Instagram had made the change to a flat logo a bit more suddenly. Following this trend, some companies began needlessly oversimplifying their logos. Mozilla's Firefox had been reduced to a more interpretive design as opposed to their old Fox of Fire. For their 6th birthday, on May 13, 2021, Discord announced they would be changing their logo, along with a few other things. What followed this was loads of backlash from angry gamers, despite Discord's numerous justifications for the change. Whether or not our 3D logos and skeuomorphic designs will return is anyone's guess. All we can do now is speculate and hope companies make the right decisions. Feel free to leave your opinions on what should happen to skeuomorphism in the comments down below. No matter what your stance on skeuomorphism is, remember to stay safe, everyone, and wash your hands. Discord, why did you have to do this?